Hello students, I hope you all are doing good. So today we are going to discuss electromagnetic waves NCERT example. So this is the disclaimer. So after this lecture you will be able to calculate various parameters of electromagnetic waves like wavelength, frequency, electric field and magnetic field amplitudes. Understand key concepts such as reflection of electromagnetic waves, direction of propagation in relation to electric field and magnetic fields, radiation from accelerated charges, radiation pressure and its applications, connect theoretical concepts to real world applications like microwave heating, comet tails, laser demonstrations. So there are total 32 NCERT example questions in chapter electromagnetic waves. In this lecture we are going to cover 11 of these questions: 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.5, 8.10, 8.11, 12, 15, 16, 17 and 20. So let's begin with first question. NCERT example 8.1. So one requires 11 electron volt of energy to dissociate a carbon monoxide molecule into carbon and oxygen atoms. The minimum frequency of the appropriate electromagnetic radiation to achieve the dissociation lies in. Okay, so we require 11 electron volt of energy. Okay, so we will calculate the wavelength associated with that energy. We have to calculate the appropriate electromagnetic radiation. So electromagnetic radiation carry energy. Okay, so we will calculate the wavelength associated with that energy, and hence we can calculate the frequency also, and then we will find that this calculated wavelength or frequency lies in which region: visible, infrared, ultraviolet or microwave. So I will give you some time to solve it. Let's see the solution. Correct option is C, ultraviolet region. So what is given? Energy required to dissociate a carbon monoxide molecule and carbon and oxygen atoms. So energy is given to dissociate the carbon monoxide molecule into carbon and oxygen, which is 11 electron volt. Okay, so energy of a photon is given by, so what is electromagnetic waves? Light is electromagnetic wave. We know that there is a dual nature of associated with the wave, electromagnetic wave. Okay, dual nature of light. Okay, it is electromagnetic wave, that's wave nature. It also shows the particle nature, and that particles are photons. Okay, or photons are the some packet of energies. Okay, so energy of photon is given by, energy of one photon is given by associated with the particular electromagnetic wave is E equal to h nu. Okay, nu is the frequency of that electromagnetic wave. Okay, for which we are calculating the photon energy. So where h is the Planck's constant and value of Planck constant is 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. Now using this relation we can find out the frequency of radiation required. Energy is given to dissociate the carbon monoxide molecule. So which electromagnetic wave we require to produce that energy? So we will calculate the frequency of that radiation by this relation E equal to h nu. So E is 11 electron volt equal to h nu. Put the value of h also. So nu will be 11 electron volt upon h. So electron volt is converted into joule, by which relation 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 joule. So we will multiply 11 with 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 and convert it into joule upon h. So nu is equal to 11 into 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 joule upon what is h, 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 joule second. Okay, frequency will come in the units of second inverse. Okay, so now we will calculate the frequency by solving this. So frequency will be equal to 2.65 into 10 raised power 15 hertz. Okay, so I told you in previous lectures that you have to remember either frequency or wavelength range. Okay, if you only know the wavelength ranges of the electromagnetic waves, you can find the frequency range also by the relation C equal to nu lambda. Okay, if you don't know the frequency range, you can convert the wavelength range into frequency range by using relation C equal to nu lambda. So this frequency radiation belongs to ultraviolet region. Okay, the frequency band of ultraviolet region is from approximately 8 into 10 raised power 14 hertz to around 3 into 10 raised power 17 hertz, and it is the frequency we have calculated is of order 10 raised power 15, which lies between these two ranges, which is for ultraviolet region. So this frequency range, this frequency value lies within the range of ultraviolet region. Okay, so which electromagnetic radiation we require to dissociate the carbon monoxide molecule is ultraviolet region. So C option is correct. So options are given for visible region, infrared region and microwave region. So the range of, or we can say band, spectrum band of visible region is from 4 into 10 raised power 14 hertz to 75 into 10 raised power 14 hertz. For infrared, the range of frequency is 3 into 10 raised power 11 hertz to 4 into 10 raised power 14 hertz. For microwave, range of frequency is 3 into 10 raised power 9 hertz to 3 into 10 raised power 11 hertz. Okay. Next question. A linearly polarized electromagnetic wave given as E equal to E naught I cap. So okay, so one word polarized is used. You don't have to bother that word. Okay, polarization or polarized waves, polarized light, we are going to discuss in wave optics. Okay, so you don't have to bother that word. Okay, so linearly polarized, you only have to bother that electromagnetic wave is given. Electric field direction is E equal to E naught I cap cos kz minus omega t. Okay, this is the equation of electric field is given. What is the direction of electric field? I cap means along x-axis. Okay, and kz, z is here, that means the propagation, direction of propagation is, and minus sign is there in the argument of cos. That means propagation is along positive z-axis. Okay, is incident normally on a perfectly reflecting infinite wall. So this electromagnetic wave is reflecting from a infinite wall and it is perfectly reflecting. Okay, assuming wall at a z equal to a. Assuming that the material of the wall is optically inactive. So what is optically inactive? We will discuss in the solution also. The reflected wave will be given as. So options are ER equal to E naught I cap cos kz minus omega t. ER is for reflected wave. Electric field equation for reflected wave. So ER is equal to E naught I cap cos kz plus omega t. ER equal to minus E naught I cap cos kz plus omega t, or ER equal to E naught I cap sin kz minus omega t. So I will give you some time to solve it or think about it. Let's see the solution. Correct option is B. ER is equal to E naught I cap cos kz plus omega t. Okay, what is the thinking process for that? When a wave is reflected from a perfectly reflecting infinite wall, then its phase changes by 180 degree or pi. So this concept is from waves chapter in 11th class. Okay, when the wave grows from rarer medium to denser medium, or it is reflecting after incidenting on the denser medium, after reflecting from a denser medium, phase changes by 180 degree. Okay, if light is reflecting from rarer medium, then phase doesn't change, phase remains same. But if it is reflecting after incidenting on the denser medium, or a infinite, or a reflecting surface, okay, that is denser, then phase changes by 180 degree or pi. It is perfectly reflecting, that means the wall is denser from which it is reflecting, so phase changes by 180 degree. Also, optically inactive material, what does that mean? So it is explained by the polarization direction, but we have not discussed about the polarization yet, so I am explaining with the help of electric field vector. So a material that doesn't change the orientation of electric field vector passing through it. Okay, if the orientation of electric field vector is along y-axis or z-axis or x-axis, so the orientation will remain same. Optically inactive material doesn't change the orientation of electric field vector passing through it. Okay, this electric field vector is also known as light vector. Okay, so its another name is light vector. The reflected wave maintains the same direction of electric field vector as the incident wave. Okay, so the reflected wave and incident wave, they both have the same direction of electric field vectors. Means direction of electric field or orientation of the electric field vector doesn't change in the wave after passing through a certain material, that is optically inactive material. Okay, only the phase and amplitude might change. Okay, now these things, optically inactive material. So what type of materials are this? Okay, water is an optically inactive material. Methane. Okay, you may discuss this optical inactive material and optically active material in organic chemistry when you will learn the structures like methane or any other organic structures. You may learn that which structures are, or which materials having certain structure are optically active. Okay, chiral molecules, achiral. Okay, you may discuss these things in the organic chemistry. Okay, when a wave is reflected from a denser medium, then the type of wave doesn't change, but its phase changes by 180 degree or pi radian. Given wave is propagating in positive z direction. So from the equation it is known, negative sign is there in the argument of cos kz minus omega t. That means the wave is propagating along positive z direction. Okay, now wave is reflected back. So now it is propagating in negative z direction. Reflected wave is, thus for the reflective wave, direction of propagation should be minus z direction and will have additional phase of pi in the incident wave. Now kz minus omega t. Now we will add pi with it. Why we will add pi? Because there is a phase difference of pi. So we will add kz minus omega t plus pi. Also we will write minus z at a place of z. Because if reflecting infinite wall is at z equal to a, now it is being reflected. Now z will be equal to, in negative terms, minus a like. Okay, so z will be converted into minus z. So given incident electromagnetic wave is ER equal to E naught I cap cos kz minus omega t. This is given. Now for normal incidence on a perfectly reflecting wall, the electric field direction reverses. Also direction of, because there is a phase difference of pi, so direction of electric field will also get reversed. So electric field in the reflected wave will be minus I cap direction. Okay, initially electric field vibrations, when it start from origin, electric field vibrations are in positive x-axis. Now just after reflection, the vibration of electric field, now electric field is changed by pi phase difference. There is a pi phase difference in the electric field. Now the vibration of electric field vector in the negative x direction. So electric field in the reflected wave will also change. It will convert to, direction will be now minus I cap. Okay, now put all these values. So then a reflected electromagnetic wave will be given by ER equal to I cap will be converted to minus I cap. Okay, Z will be, because we have changed the direction, now it will move in the negative direction. So positive Z will be converted into negative Z. Also there is a phase difference of pi. So pi will be added in the argument of cos. So ER will be equal to, so minus I cap, it will become minus E naught I cap cos. So we will take negative common from kz and omega t. Okay, it will become minus in bracket kz plus omega t, and pi will remain as it is. We will bring pi in the front. So pi minus kz plus omega t. Now cos pi minus theta. Pi minus theta is in second quadrant. So cos some angle in second quadrant, which means cos is negative in second quadrant. Okay, cos pi minus theta will result in negative value because cos in second quadrant is negative. Also, we are doing conversion by pi degree, pi radian. Cos pi minus theta, we are doing conversion of cos with pi angle. So if we are doing trigonometry conversion with pi angle, then trigonometry function will remain as it is. Sin pi minus theta is sin theta. Cos pi minus theta is minus cos theta. This is the conversion identity of trigonometry. Okay, so sin pi minus theta is why sin theta? Why not sin minus sin theta? Because pi minus theta is angle lying within second quadrant, and sin in second quadrant is positive. Okay, so cos pi minus theta will result in minus cos theta. So cos pi minus theta is minus cos theta. That means cos pi minus kz plus omega t will result in minus cos kz plus omega t. There is already a minus sign outside. So cos pi minus theta result one more negative sign. It will become minus negative negative positive. So ER will become E naught I cap cos kz plus omega t. Okay, so hence option B, ER is equal to E naught I cap cos kz plus omega t is correct option. Okay. Next question. Light with an energy flux of 20 watt per centimeter square. What is energy flux? It is if you don't know what is energy flux, see the unit. 20 watt per centimeter square. Watt is power. Power upon area. What is that? Intensity. Intensity was energy upon unit area per unit time. Energy upon unit area per unit time means E upon AT, or E upon T is power. Energy upon time is power. So power upon area, that is intensity. Energy flux is intensity. If you don't know the quantity, see the unit. So watt per centimeter square falls on a non-reflecting surface at normal incidence. So non-reflecting surface means surface is perfectly absorbing. Means complete absorption is occurring. There is no reflection. That thing means non-reflecting surface at normal incidence. Okay, and normal incidence means it is falling perpendicularly. If the surface has an area of 30 centimeter square, intensity is given and area is given 30 centimeter square, the total momentum delivered during 30 minutes is. So what is momentum delivered? We have discussed the formula for momentum delivered. For perfectly reflecting surface or for non-reflecting surface. For complete absorption, for complete reflection. We have discussed two formula for momentum delivered. Okay, so I will give you some time to remind that formula. Okay, and options are 36 into 10 to the power minus 5 kg meter per second, 36 into 10 to the power minus 4 kg meter per second, 108 into 10 to the power 4 kg meter per second, 1.08 into 10 to the power 7 kg meter per second. So I will give you some time to solve it. So correct option is B, 36 into 10 to the power minus 4 kg meter per second. So what is the thinking process for that question? From energy flux, it means the intensity of light. Okay, intensity is the ratio of power of the light to the total area, or we can say intensity is defined as energy per unit area per unit time of any electromagnetic wave. Okay, so intensity is the ratio of power of light to the total area at which light is falling normally. Okay. Now what is given in the question? Energy flux intensity I is given 20 watt per centimeter square. So now convert it into SI units. Watt is SI unit but centimeter is not. So 1 centimeter is 10 to the power minus 2 meter square. It is in the denominator, means per meter square. So when it go in the numerator, it will become positive power. Okay, so 1 centimeter is 10 to the power minus 2 meter. 1 centimeter square is 10 to the power minus 4 meter square. So 10 to the power minus 4 will go in the numerator and it will become 20 into 10 to the power 4 watt per meter square. Area is given 30 centimeter square. So 30 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter square. Time is given 30 minutes. Convert it into SI units. So time will be equal to 30 into 60 seconds. Okay, I am not giving the exact value. We will solve it in the solution also. So I is equal to, so again this definition came, energy upon area, energy per unit area per unit time. So energy upon unit time is power. So we can write it as power delivered upon per unit area. We can also define it in the way, in the terms of power. So intensity is energy upon area multiplied by time. So from here, now total energy falling on the surface is given by U equal to IAT. We here interested to find the energy because momentum delivered is given by, for a perfectly reflecting surface, P equal to 2U upon C. But for non-reflecting surface, momentum is given by P equal to U upon C. Okay, so total energy falling on the surface in time t is U equal to IAT. Putting the value of I equal to 20 into 10 to the power 4 watt per meter square, area equal to 30 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter square, t equal to 30 into 60 seconds. So after putting all the values, energy is equal to 20 into 30 into 30 into 60. Why? Because 10 to the power 4 into 10 to the power minus 4, they will get cancelled out. Okay, only 20 into 30 into 30 into 60. So energy will be equal to 108 into 10 to the power 4 joule. For complete absorption, momentum delivered to surface will be. So momentum P is equal to U upon C for non-reflecting surface. For perfectly reflecting surface, P is equal to 2u upon c, and for non-reflecting surface P is equal to u upon c. So P is equal to 108 into 10 to the power 4 upon 3 into 10 to the power 8. So P is equal to, after solving, 36 into 10 to the power minus 4 kg meter per second. That is the momentum delivered during 30 minutes. Okay, for complete absorption. Okay, for complete absorption, momentum formula is P equal to u upon c. And for completely reflecting surface, P is equal to 2u upon c. C is speed of light. U is energy. Okay, hence option B, P is equal to 36 into 10 to the power minus 4 kg meter per second is correct. Got it? Next question. If E and B represent electric and magnetic fields vectors of the electromagnetic wave, the direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is along. Okay, options are along electric field E, along electric field B, along cross product of B and E, B cross E, or along E cross B. So I will give you some time to think about it. Solve it if you time is being given, or try to solve it and write your answers in the comment section. So D option, E cross B, is correct. So cross product of two vectors gives another vector which is perpendicular to both the vectors in cross product. Okay, if two vectors are represented in the form of cross product, okay, A and B vectors are there, and we are going to find the A cross B. Then the another vector, the cross product of A and B will give another vector which is perpendicular to both A and B. Okay, this is the rule of cross product. So the direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is perpendicular to both electric field E and magnetic field B. We have discussed about the electromagnetic waves that electric field and magnetic field are mutually perpendicular to each other and also perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Okay, so direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is perpendicular to both electric field E and magnetic field B. That means we can find the direction of propagation by cross product of electric field and magnetic field. That is, the direction of propagation will be along E cross B. This can be seen by the diagram given below. So this is the diagram, you can see. So electric field is in the positive x direction, okay, initially, and magnetic field for this cycle, magnetic field is along positive y axis. So I cap, electric field is a unit vector of electric field is I cap, unit vector of this magnetic field is j cap. So I cross j is k cap. So direction of propagation, as you can see, is along z axis. So by doing cross product, you can also find I cross j, k cap. Got it? Here electromagnetic wave is along z direction, which is given by cross product of E and B, where electric field is along x axis and magnetic field is along y axis. Got it? So next question, a plane electromagnetic wave propagating along x direction can have the following pairs of electric and magnetic field. Okay, so it is propagating along x direction. So which components of electric field and magnetic field are not possible? Which options are correct, which are not correct? From here, more than one options can be correct. Okay. So I will give you some time to think about it. So this question is basically electromagnetic direction of propagation is given along x direction, means I cap. Okay, you have to determine that which pair of electric and magnetic field, that in which direction electric field and magnetic field is not possible. EXBY, that means component of electric field along x-axis and component of magnetic field along y-axis. Okay, EX means a component of electric field along x-axis and magnetic field component is along y-axis. Okay, and direction of propagation is along x-axis. We know that electric field, magnetic field and direction of propagation all are mutually perpendicular to each other. So which component of electric and magnetic field are not possible? You have to determine that option. Okay, or which are possible, can have the following pairs. So which are possible? You have to determine that option also. But what is asked in the question? Can have the following. So you have to determine which options are correct. Which components can, which components are possible. Which are not possible, you will eliminate it. So more than one option can be correct. So correct option is B and D option. Okay, so what is the thinking process for this question? Direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is given by the direction of cross product E and B. Okay, E cap cross B cap. That means direction of electric field cross direction of magnetic field. Okay. So direction for planar wave, propagation vector K cap, K, that is also known as magnitude of this propagation vector is wave number K, which is 2 pi upon lambda. Electric field E and magnetic field B, these three vectors are mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay, if electromagnetic wave, direction of electromagnetic wave or direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is along x direction, that means electric field or magnetic field are perpendicular to direction of propagation. So electric field and magnetic field should not have any component along x-axis. So which options are correct? You have to determine that. Okay. So it is given that direction of propagation is along x-axis, along I cap. So E and B should be such that E cross B will be equal to I. Okay, that means, so according to cyclic property, which two vectors of cross product will give the I cap? J cross K? J cross K will give the I cap, or minus J cross minus K will give the I cap. That means J cap is for Y axis and K cap is for Z axis. Means electric field and magnetic field should lie in the YZ plane. So there should not be any component of electric field and magnetic field along the x axis. Okay, so E and B cannot have x components. So option A, that is EXBY. So here electric field component is along x-axis, which is not possible. So this option is incorrect. Also BXEY, magnetic field component is along x-axis. This is also incorrect. So these options are not possible. So only option B, which is electric field is along y-axis, magnetic field is along z-axis. Also, electric field is along z-axis or magnetic field is along y-axis. Okay, so this option is also correct. Okay. Next question. A charged particle oscillates about its mean equilibrium position with the frequency of 10 raised to 9 hertz. The electromagnetic waves produce. So this is similar question we have discussed in exercise also. Okay, so if charged particle oscillates with some frequency and electromagnetic produced by that charge oscillation of charged particle will be having same frequency 10 raised to 9 hertz. But options are will have frequency of 10 raised to 9 hertz. Second option is will have frequency of 2 into 10 raised to 9 hertz. So out of these two options, one should be correct because in both options frequency is given. C option will have wavelength of 0.3 meter. So you have to calculate the wavelength of electromagnetic wave corresponding to that frequency, corresponding to the frequency of electromagnetic wave generated. Okay, so this option can be correct also. Fall in the region of radio waves. So you have to find the region of this 10 raised to 9 hertz frequency or the calculated value of frequency of electromagnetic wave produced. Okay, so out of these four options, which options are correct? More than one option can be correct. So I will give you some time to think about it. To see the options carefully, more than one option can be correct. So A, C and D, these three options are correct. Only B option is incorrect. So what is the thinking process for that? The frequency of the electromagnetic waves produced by a charged particle is equal to the frequency by which it oscillates about its mean equilibrium position. Okay, so the frequency with which the charged particle is oscillating is same frequency with which electromagnetic wave is produced. Okay, so frequency of electromagnetic wave produced will be 10 raised to 9 hertz. So A option is correct. So given frequency by which the charged particle oscillates about its mean position is 10 raised to 9 hertz. So frequency of electromagnetic wave produced will be same. Also nu is equal to 10 raised to 9 hertz. So this frequency 10 raised to 9 hertz fall in the region of radio waves. Okay, radio waves range is from 3 kilohertz, means 3 into 10 raised to 3 hertz to 300 gigahertz. Giga means 10 raised to 9. So 300 gigahertz means 3 into 10 raised to 11 hertz. So 3 into 10 raised to 3 hertz to 3 into 10 raised to 11 hertz. So 10 raised to 9 hertz fall in within this range. So 10 raised to 9 hertz fall in the region of radio waves. So option D is also correct. Now we will find the wavelength associated with that frequency. So using relation nu is equal to C upon lambda according to NCERT equation 8.9b. So lambda is equal to C upon V, nu. So lambda is equal to 3 into 10 raised to 8 and frequency 10 raised to 9 hertz. So lambda is equal to 0.3 meter. Okay, so option A will have frequency of 10 raised to 9 hertz. Option C will have wavelength of 0.3 meter and option D fall in the region of radio waves. All these three options are correct. Only B option is incorrect. Next question. The source of electromagnetic waves can be a charge. Options are moving at a constant velocity. Okay, so what can be the source of electromagnetic waves? A charge moving with a constant velocity, moving in a circular orbit, a charge at rest, or falling in an electric field. So option B and D are correct. So what is the thinking process? So it is an important result of Maxwell's theory that accelerated charge radiate electromagnetic waves. Okay, only accelerated charge or oscillating charge, okay, or charge having any acceleration will produce the electromagnetic waves. So charge at rest will produce the static electric field. Moving charge with constant velocity will produce the magnetic field, that is static. Only accelerated charge will produce the time varying electric field and magnetic field. Okay, so important result of Maxwell theory that accelerated charges radiate electromagnetic waves. So to produce the EM wave, we need the accelerated motion of charge particles. So out of the given options, in which option charge is being accelerated? So hence option A, moving with the constant velocity, is wrong, because charge moving with a constant velocity produce the static magnetic field. That is not in the case of electromagnetic wave. Option B, charge is moving in a circular orbit. Now in a circular orbit, it is charge direction of velocity is changing with respect to time. In a circular orbit, at any point direction of velocity will be different. Okay, whether it is uniform motion or non-uniform motion, direction of velocity is changing. Okay, in non-uniform motion, there is linear acceleration also due to the change of magnitude of velocity. But in uniform circular motion, magnitude of velocity is not changing, but direction of velocity is changing with respect to time. Due to change in the direction, acceleration will produce. Okay, so that motion of charge particle is accelerated motion. So in circular motion, direction of motion of charge is changing continuously. Thus, it is an accelerated motion, and hence option is correct, because accelerated motion will produce the electromagnetic wave. For option C, at rest, charge at rest only can produce static electric field. So a charge at rest does not produce electromagnetic wave because there is no change in the motion or position. So there is no acceleration, there is no electromagnetic waves. Option D, falling in an electric field. So charge after falling in electric field experience force. If we are placing any charge in electric field, okay, so due to that electric field, that charge will experience the force that is equal to Q into E. Okay, we have discussed about it in electrostatics. Thus, force experienced by a charge placed in electric field is equal to F equal to Q into E. Q is the magnitude of charge and E is the electric field. Okay, if force is there, obviously there will be acceleration of charge. If force is experienced by the charge, that means there is an acceleration. There is some acceleration induced in the charge. So if force is there, then there will be acceleration. So it will be radiating EM wave. Okay, so option D and option B is correct. Okay, option B, D are correct options. Next question, why does microwave oven heats up a food item containing water molecules most efficiently? We have discussed it in the applications or uses of microwaves. So we have discussed about microwave. Okay, so why does microwave oven heats up a food items containing water molecules more efficiently? If it is dry food, okay, it is not much efficient in heating the food. If the food contains more water molecules, then it is more efficient to heat up that food. So why? I will give you some time to think about it. So water molecules are polar, meaning they have slightly positive charge on one end of hydrogen. Okay, what are polar molecules? That have permanent dipole moment, means their center of mass of negative charge doesn't coincide with center of mass of positive charge. Okay, so there is a partial negative charge or partial positive charge on the same molecule. So water molecules are polar, means they have slightly positive charge on one end on hydrogen and a slightly negative charge on other end, that is on oxygen atom. Okay, so that means this create an electric dipole moment in water molecules, making them susceptible to electromagnetic fields. Okay, they can absorb the electromagnetic waves. Okay, that make them susceptible. What is susceptible? It is a measure of easiness due to which electromagnetic waves pass through the water molecules. Okay, so this creates electric dipole moment in water molecules, making them susceptible to the electromagnetic fields. Okay, so electromagnetic fields can pass through or absorbed by the water molecules, but microwaves typically operate at 2.45 gigahertz frequency. Okay, all electromagnetic waves can be absorbed by water molecules, but the microwaves they typically operate at 2.45 gigahertz in the microwave oven, and that is the natural frequency of water molecules also. Okay, due to which, so microwave frequency closely matches the natural frequency at which water molecules can rotate and oscillate. This creates a resonance condition that efficiently transfers energy. Okay, due to which resonance occurs, water molecules can absorb all type of electromagnetic waves, but microwaves, the frequency at which microwaves are used in the microwave oven are of value 2.45 gigahertz. That is the natural, that closely matches the natural frequency of water molecules, due to which resonance occurs and transfer of energy is more efficient. So when exposed to microwaves, water molecules rapidly oscillate and rotate, trying to align with the alternating electromagnetic field. Okay, so water molecules, the oscillation, the rotation, okay, the amplitude of rotation or oscillation will increase due to resonance condition occurs. This rotation occurs billion of times per second. So water molecules start oscillating, rotating. Okay, so that orientation change or oscillations that occurs billion of times per second. So the rapid molecular motion creates friction between the molecules. Okay, their rapid rotation, their rapid oscillation, they will rub with each other. Nearby molecules will rub with each other and their interaction with each other, due to which friction creates. Friction will produced, and that friction will produce the heat effect. So this friction produces heat, which then spreads throughout the food, cooking or heating it. It is similar to how rubbing your hand together creates heat through friction. Okay, when we in winters we rub our hands generally, okay, to keep our hands or fingers warm. Okay, so this is similar effect. When molecules start rotating or oscillating, they rub with each other, and due to which friction occurs, and friction produces heat. And that heat spreads throughout the food, cooking or heating it. This leads to faster and more uniform heating compared to conventional heating methods. Okay, that is the complete mechanism happening within the microwave oven. So next question, the charge on a parallel plate capacitor varies as Q equal to Q naught cos 2 pi nu t. Okay, the plates are very large and close together. Area A, separation D. Neglecting the edge effects, find the displacement current through the capacitor. Okay. So let's see the solution. Displacement current through the capacitor is equal to the conduction current. Okay, we have discussed when capacitor is charging or discharging with respect to time. When capacitor is fully charged, or capacitor is, in the case of DC, when capacitor is fully charged, it will block the current. So there will not be any conduction current or displacement current. Okay, only displacement current occurs only when their capacitor is charging or discharging with respect to time, or capacitor is connected to AC supply, in which charging and discharging happens in a cycle. Okay, in one quarter cycle charging happens, in other quarter cycle discharging happens, due to which displacement current exists within the plates of the capacitor. Because electric field, current in the circuit changes, electric field within the plates of capacitor changes due to the change in charge on the capacitor plates. So ID will be equal to IC, where ID is displacement current, IC is conduction current. Conduction current is given by rate of change of flow, I is equal to dq by dt. So conduction current is given by rate of change of flow of charges through any cross-section area perpendicularly with respect to time. So ID is equal to IC, that means ID equal to IC equal to dq by dt. And what is Q? Q is given Q naught cos 2 pi nu t. So we have to differentiate only. So ID will be equal to IC, which is equal to d by dt Q naught cos 2 pi nu t. Now we will differentiate it. So Q naught is constant, it will come out of the derivative. So ID will be equal to IC, will be equal to differentiation of with Q naught cos 2 pi nu t with respect to time. So ID will be equal to, after differentiating, Q naught will come out of the derivation, and differentiation of cos 2 pi nu t. So 2 pi nu is constant, t is variable. So we know that differentiation of cos AX with respect to time. Okay, so it will be equal to minus A sin AX. Okay. So ID will be equal to Q naught, constant term cos 2 pi nu t will be equal to minus sin 2 pi nu t. Also differentiation of 2 pi nu t with respect to time. So it will result in 2 pi nu and dt by dt 1 according to chain rule. So ID will be equal to 2 minus 2 pi nu Q naught sin 2 pi nu t. Okay. That is the expression for displacement current. Hence the displacement current through the capacitor is minus Q naught 2 pi nu sin 2 pi nu t. So next question. A variable frequency AC source is connected to a capacitor. How will the displacement current change with decrease in frequency? So what is the thinking process for this question? Current in the circuit is inversely proportional to the capacitive reactance. Okay, capacitive reactance is the opposition offered to the flow of current. So if opposition offered is more, means capacitive reactance is more, current will be less in the circuit. That means current is inversely proportional to XC. If XC increases, current decreases. If XC decreases, current increases. Okay. So this is the thinking process for this question. Now capacitive reactance is given by X is equal to 1 by omega C according to NCERT equation 7.17. So that means for a given capacitor, capacitance is constant. So we are decreasing or increasing frequency. What is we are doing in the question? We are decreasing the frequency. So Xc is inversely proportional to omega. Means if we decrease the frequency, capacitive reactance will increase. Okay, as frequency decreases, which is asked in the question, Xc increases. If Xc increases, current is inversely proportional to Xc. So if Xc increases, opposition is increasing, current will decrease. Okay, so conduction current is inversely proportional to Xc. That means IC is inversely proportional to Xc and Xc is inversely proportional to omega. That means conduction current is directly proportional to omega frequency. If frequency is decreasing, so current will decrease eventually. So since the displacement current is equal to conduction current, so we have derived the expression for conduction current. Or since capacitor is connected to AC source, so displacement current is equal to conduction current. So ID equal to IC. That means displacement current will also decrease when frequency decreases. So displacement current decreases as the frequency of AC source decreases. So next question, Professor C.V. Raman surprised his students by suspending freely a tiny light ball in transparent vacuum chamber by shining a laser beam on it. Okay, there is a very light ball, okay, in a transparent vacuum chamber. There is no air. Okay, so he suspended a tiny little light ball inside a transparent vacuum chamber by shining a laser beam on it. Okay, which property of EM waves was he exhibiting? Give a more example of this property. Okay, so let's see. So this demonstration by Professor C.V. Raman was exhibiting the radiation pressure property of electromagnetic waves. So he was shining a laser beam. He was incidenting a laser beam on the light ball. Okay, ball is light, also it is in vacuum chamber, there is no air. Okay, so there will not be any thrust. So he is shining or incidenting a laser beam on the light ball. So these laser beam is electromagnetic waves falling in the region of visible light. So it is applying radiation pressure on the light ball, due to which light ball is suspended freely in the vacuum chamber. Okay, so what was he exhibiting? The radiation pressure property. So an electromagnetic wave carries energy and momentum like other waves. We have discussed that electromagnetic wave carries energy and momentum both. Since it carries momentum, electromagnetic wave also exerts pressure called radiation pressure. Okay, we have discussed about radiation pressure also. When electromagnetic waves like the laser beam strike on an object, they exert a small but measurable force due to the transfer of momentum. So since it is exerting pressure, it is exerting force. So it is exerting a measurable force, but very small force, not very large. So it can only lift very light objects like light ball. Okay, it cannot carry the heavy object. So in this demonstration, the laser beam exerted an upward force on the light ball. This upward force balanced the downward gravitational force. Okay, the gravitational force due to its weight. Since it is light ball and it is placed in vacuum chamber, the gravitational force is very, very small. Okay, and we are incidenting laser beam on this light ball from the downward direction. So it will exert upward force and it is balancing the gravitational force. Okay, that's why ball is suspending freely. As a result, ball appear to be suspended in the mid-air. Now one more example. So the tails of comets are also due to radiation pressure. Okay, this is comet. It looks like that in the sky. So tail of comet. A comet has two tails. One is dust tail, one is iron tails. Okay, dust tail is made of ice particles or dust particles or dust accumulated on the iced particles. Okay, and iron tails containing many charged particles. Okay, iron tail always points directly away from the sun, while the dust tails curve slightly. Why the dust tail is curved slightly? Due to the curved motion of the comet. This happens because why this iron tail and dust tail are exactly away from the sun. So solar radiation pressure. Okay, so radiations. Okay, almost all type of radiations are coming from the sun. Okay, due to that pressure of these radiations coming from the sun, dust particles always points away from the comet's nucleus due to the radiation pressure on it. Also, iron tail particles, ions present in the ion tails also point away from the sun due to the radiation pressure, also due to the solar wind. Okay, the charged particles in the ion tail are affected by both radiation pressure and solar wind. Solar wind contains large amount of charged particle, due to which the charged particles present in the tail of the comet will experience the force. Okay, so they will point directly away from the sun. These forces from the sun radiation cause the characteristic tail formation away from the sun. So due to the radiation pressure and solar wind, the tail of the comet is directly away from the sun. Okay, so that is another example of this property, radiation pressure. So thank you. This is all about today's lecture. I hope you understood it well.